Hey everyone, welcome to Casper Wellness, and today in the studio we have Rebecca Jane Cavanagh, and she has a Master's in Dietetic Practice and a Bachelor of Applied Science, and she's also the founder of Good Food for a Good Mood. But firstly, I want to kind of ask, how did you become a dietitian, and what inspired you to get your Master's from obviously being an electrical engineer? We had a bit of a chat before. She has an amazing CV. So how did you transition into learning about food and
Well, I think it's fairly typical, I suppose, of our generation to have like a million different jobs.
Yes.
Yes, I did, straight out of school was told, right, maths, physics, you'll be an engineer. I was like, okay. Wasn't really for me, but I suppose I've always loved science and problem solving and figuring out the answers to things. So from engineering, kind of evolved into finance for a while, and that allowed me to travel the world, and that was great. It was helpful for a time of my life, but then I kind of decided it wasn't as rewarding as I wanted it to be anymore. I think I wanted to move. This is my like cliche catchphrase, but I wanted to stop stealing people's wealth and help people with their health. So
I love it.
I know it's so cliche, but that is where it came from, and I think I wanted to actually have a solid some sort of degree behind me to actually have a profession where I felt confident to talk about people's health and potentially travel the world. Yeah, maybe not
right now.
Not right now, but yeah, use that to, I suppose, share knowledge and help people have healthier lifestyles. Yeah.
So and I know a lot of people are probably asking this, but can you please explain what's the difference between a dietitian and a nutritionist?
Yeah, well, as you said, both very valuable. You're always going to find, useful and unuseful practitioners in any field. So the main difference between a dietitian and a nutritionist, dietitian usually has an extra level of qualifications. So in my case, I have a master's, and we also have a governing body that looks over everything we do. So we always have to be evidence-based, and anything we say or sell or spruik has to be backed up by evidence, and we have governance monitoring things that we're doing in the public. So that's where we're held accountable, I suppose.
And that's important. I mean, I guess typically one would go and see a dietitian if they have a chronic illness like diabetes or Crohn's disease.
Yeah, well, we have that sort of basic sort of medical training to deal with those chronic diseases and work in a hospital.
Yeah.
Where other nutritional professions can't work in hospitals. So that is quite a useful skill that we have as well. Yeah, and I suppose, nutrition's always a long game, so we are trying to deal with people's chronic illnesses and help with, healthy lifestyle changes that can help with those chronic conditions.
Yeah, because it's a long-term strategy, peeps. It's not like, I'm going to have a banana today and that's it.
Exactly.
It's like looking at the whole thing. So tell us more about Good Food and Good Mood. Now, I know you started, you were a DJ as well. She forgot to mention that she used to DJ as well. And you started doing some workshops in festivals on diet and what people should be doing. And I know hydration is a key one, especially if you're going to a festival. And at the moment, no one's going to festivals, but I do still think that hydration is super important. So give us your thoughts on that.
Well, look, I think any health professional will talk to the positives about being hydrated. For me specifically, in the Good Food for a Good Mood workshops that I was bringing to music festivals prior to this, it was more about that sort of pre-hydration before you might start a drinking bender for a few days, as well as drinking water while you're consuming alcohol or other substances. I think most people know the importance of hydration during drinking alcohol, but no one was that aware that it is just as important, maybe even more important, to sort of be like pre-gaming and making sure you're fully hydrated to a great point before you start your bender or whatever's happening. So that was what I was sort of bringing to the music festivals, but now I also, it's so relevant to everyday life, especially
Absolutely.
isolation life as well. It's so easy to forget to drink water. I feel like even though we might have this simpler way of life at the moment, there's, you know, people at home that are juggling homeschooling, they're juggling their own their own work life, they're trying to do so many things and cooking every meal at home as well, which I love, and I'm so happy that people are cooking meals at home and loving it. But I understand it's an effort as well. So water can sometimes get pushed to the side, and that's really important for the stresses in your body. So if you are dehydrated, that can cause so many stress responses in your body, which in turn can, you know, raise your cortisol levels or can affect you mentally as well. And, you know, sometimes if you've just got like a tummy ache or all this brain fog people talk about in the afternoon, that can simply just be dehydration as well, which is so easy to forget about.
So easy to forget about, especially, like you said, especially when we're kind of juggling a few different tasks at the one time. And then you reach for the tea or you reach for the coffee and you forget to reach for that glass of water. And we do. And I find, I mean, I'm fortunate that I have a space to come to and work out of. But on the days that I am at home, homeschooling, it is one of the most simplest and easiest things to do that does get pushed aside.
Yeah.
But you touched on mental health a little bit and how it can affect, how dehydration can affect the way you think sometimes and what have you. So people that are probably a little bit anxious during this time, given the circumstances, or have lost their job, or, you know, they've got a couple of, you know, kids at home that are, you know, all homeschooling. There's a lot of stress triggers already in those environments. How important is it for those people and all of us to make sure that they get their ample intake, which is, I'm assuming, 8 glasses a day?
Exactly. The 8 glasses a day is such a loose term which people will try to debunk and say it's ridiculous. It just means, you know, a standard glass, so it's roughly 250 mils, so it's roughly 2 litres, but it is just supposed to be a loose term just to remind you to just have 8 glasses at a time. You don't have to go and try to scull a litre or 2 litre at a time. Just have a glass every time you stand up and do your little stretches when you're working from your desk, because we all should be moving more and just, you know, stretching your back out. I'm not an exercise physiologist, but I do know that one. Just have a little glass of water as well. So that's really good. But also food, which is what I love. There is so much fluid in food that we can forget as well. But it's in things like fruits and vegetables, which of course are my favourite foods to talk about. And they're also in drinks as well. So, you know, caffeine's a bit of a contentious one. So maybe, you know, caffeine can be dehydrating. So the water and the caffeine in the coffee may cancel each other out. But something like a low caffeine tea is still water. So you don't have to beat yourself up about not having pure water if you're having a low caffeine tea.
What about decaf?
Yep, decaf's perfect. There's still water in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you
oh
still.
My God!
Yeah,
decaf.
Yep. Yes. Decaf coffee, low caffeine herbal teas. I don't know if people drink kombucha or milk. Milk is actually super hydrating.
Yeah, I can't do milk.
Can't do milk? No,
but,
that's fine.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that can't do milk, but I can do almond milk.
Well, that's actually full of water. That is like the main ingredient is water. Even though I'm not anti almond milk, but most of these milks have, you know, the main ingredient is water. The fact that they have a little bit of sugar, which is usually from the lactose, or they have a bit of fat in them, actually can help hydrate you a little bit quicker. But still, water is still the answer. Coconut water, whatever you prefer, just drink it.
Just drink it. I like that. So as long as it's not alcohol.
Well, actually, funny you say that. I could tell you something about beer, but that's for another podcast.
But tell us, okay, so we spoke a little bit earlier about the vagus nerve. Vagus nerve.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know much about it. I know a little bit about it, but don't know much about it. So explain to us why good food is and hydration is good for the vagus nerve.
So that's one of the things I love to talk about in my workshops. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, and I'm not an expert on the brain and brain function, but I am an expert on food and how our body, you know, breaks it down and what it does with the food. And what I do know what science says about the current situation of food and the gut and the brain and the connection between them. So we have this vagus nerve which joins the gut and the brain together. And it's kind of like this big communication highway, this two-way street. So your brain is talking to your gut and your gut is talking to your brain constantly. And the way they do that is through all the different like microbes and hormones and neurotransmitters and things that are running through your brain, all these like trillions of chemical reactions that are happening every second of every day. So you want to make sure that they're sending the right signals and they're communicating the right way to each other. And what sort of the evidence is telling us is that is really important to the gut microbiota or the microbiome, or you may have heard some of these gut health words lately. So we know that the bacteria in our gut, so we'll call them the microbes, they're the ones that are responsible for, producing all these signals that are going to the brain. So you want to make sure you're feeding the right bacteria down there. And what feeds bacteria in your gut is any undigestible food that we eat. You digest everything in your small intestine and that gets absorbed. Your vitamins, your minerals, your fats, your proteins, your carbohydrates all get absorbed into the bloodstream and do what they need to do. The rest goes to your gut, your large bowel. And that's where these undigestibles, so they're your fibers and like the prebiotics, you probably heard that term. They can feed these good bacteria and feed them so they send the right signals, I suppose. And if you don't feed them, the evidence is showing that they can actually eat away at the mucosal lining of our and that can lead to problems with our immune system and inflammation, which are then all issues with our mental health as well. So it's all connected, and it's so fascinating and so complex, and everybody is so different as well. So there's never going to be one magic food. It's all about feeding fibers to the gut and feeding as many different fibers to the gut. So it's like, you've got to think about it like an ecosystem down there. You want as many different bacteria as possible, like as diverse as possible, and you want the good bacteria in high numbers. Okay. So you want to feed those good bacteria so they can multiply and you can increase the numbers, but you also want to feed them lots of different fibers. So you can get such a diverse range.
So when you say lots of different fibers, what I mean, I think fiber, I think fruits, I think veggies, I think grains, is that what,
Yeah, exactly.
And then when you say bacteria, I think of yogurt and all of, kombucha and all that sort of stuff.
Well, there's kind of two ways of thinking about the things that will make it to the gut. Is these undigestible fibers, which are found in fruits and vegetables, whole grains, your breads, all your cereals. But then you can also, if you're not going to feed the bacteria with fiber, you can just add bacteria, which is where you get your kombucha.
I got you.
So those are fermented foods. They make bacteria. And you are eating the bacteria then. So you're either adding bacteria in by eating it, or you are feeding the good bacteria with fiber. So there's kind of two ways.
That's a really good point.
Kind of two ways to think about it.
That's awesome.
Which is what your Inner Health Pluses and things like that. That's got live bacteria in it. Or now we've all got so much time on our hands. We can make sourdough bread. We can make kimchi, kombuchas.
Kimchi. Oh my god, I love kimchi.
I actually really dislike it, but I know how good it is.
That's good. It's good for you. So there's no real so either's good. Doesn't matter. Whatever you like.
I think always best of a combination of all of that. Yeah.
Can you overdose some good bacteria? just asking.
I'm not sure toxicity. I'll have to look that up. Sorry, I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay, it's all right.
We'll edit that bit out.
So, all right. So, just to recap, and to let our audience know during this time, as we are all in isolation, what are the 3 things that you would highly recommend as a dietitian? For everyone at home, just a general rule of thumb.
Rule of thumb would definitely have to be variety. So as we just said, we want that diversity in our gut. Yes, variety of foods, colours of the rainbows. That's like so important. I don't know, if you don't like many fruits, you know, you can mix them up in like blenders and juices and things like that, so you can get a mixture of the fruits at least, and then that way you might like throw a few curveballs in there that you're not used to eating. But variety would be key. Consistency as well. So like I said with how useful the fiber is, the problem is it's short-lived, these health benefits of the fibers. So getting to your gut, you need to consistently be getting fiber to your gut. So you can't just eat one fiber-rich meal a week or something and think, great, I'm getting fiber in. We need about 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day.
So what does that look like? When you say 25 to 30 grams, what does that look like? Say, for example, if an orange has got, 10 grams and an apple's got 5. Or...
I mean, some things I kind of recommend is like maybe with your afternoon snack or something, instead of reaching for the easy option, which may be the Maltesers or something like you were talking about before, if you did like a cup of mixed fruit or something, that could easily add anywhere between sort of 7 to 11 grams of fiber.
Okay.
And that is just in a little afternoon snack.
Okay.
So, and that's about like 1 cup of sort of mixed fruit.
Yeah.
I'm, trying to be general here because I don't want people to then just eat an orange.
Yeah.
So you want kind of that, or maybe some vegetable sticks with some hummus or something like that. That could even be a little bit more. Maybe we're talking more about, 10 to 14 kind of grams of fiber. So that could be, and the quantity there may be more like 1.5 sort of cups of like chopped vegetable sticks or something like that.
Yeah.
So again, it's sort of loose, but the recent health surveys done in Australia is showing that no one is meeting the recommended, or hardly anyone is meeting the recommended intake of fiber.
Which is 25 grams.
Which is 25 to 30 grams a day. So
and
that's scary.
It is scary, but it's not like, now just talking to you, it's not unachievable.
Exactly, it's not. It's not.
Like
and if you try to just add a little bit in at each meal, then that's great. Just keep it consistent. Don't just have one great day and then let it all sort of fall away, which everyone falls into the trap of that. I ate so well yesterday and this, and again, I feel like there's a huge psychology behind that about I ate well, I ate good foods, now I'm going to eat bad foods. There's this psychology, which is, again, not a psychologist, but that can get you into these vicious sort of loops. So it's about consistency, variety, and I hate to say it, moderation. Every dietitian talks about moderation, but it is.
Yeah.
Enjoy your sometimes foods when you want, because that contributes to good mood as well. We're forgetting about these short-term good mood effects as well, which are fantastic. Yeah. Just don't think, oh my God, I blew it. I ate Maltesers. I'm going to skip dinner because I'm calorie counting or something. Like that would be the worst thing. Make sure you still have dinner and have all those beautiful vegetables in your dinner and feed your gut those amazing fibers.
Yeah.
Just because you didn't get any fiber from the Maltesers doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. They serve a purpose, but just make sure you still have dinner and you still incorporate lots of fibers in your dinner.
Yeah, that's actually really good advice. That inner dialogue, I think we're all guilty of that inner dialogue of,
Definitely.
You know what, I've been good today, oh my God, I fell off the bandwagon. Why'd you fall off the bandwagon? And there's this constant toing and froing in your mind. But that's super good advice. It's just like, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Have it, enjoy it, but still have your healthy dinner or lunch later.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much. This was so insightful.
Oh, great. Thank you.
I love having you in the studio.
Thank you so much for having me. That's awesome.
Absolute pleasure. And can't wait to chat to you very, very soon.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Bye.